Hello, the next film I'm reviewing is Erin Brockovitch, 2000. Julia Roberts stars as the eponymous character in this drama based on the true story set 30 years ago. She is brilliant and I'm full of admiration for Erin herself. It doesn't start off well. She doesn't get a job at an interview and she crashes a car immediately afterwards. I was actually looking at the street sign as I recognised Lancashire Boulevard from my first visit to California when I stayed in the San Fernando Valley in North Hollywood. Erin is the mother of young children and she's often broke. She doesn't win the car crash case, but she manages to persuade the lawyer who took on that case to employ her. Also at that time, because she has to move home to save money, she complains about this noisy biker, George Aaron Eckhart. He takes an interest in her and ends up helping a lot. He helps with the childcare. He's like a stay-at-home stepdad, but he is discouraged by Erin's regular meanness towards him. While she's working, her attention's drawn to the medical records that have been mixed up in the middle of real estate files. It's a case where the Pacific Gas and Electric Company are paying the healthcare bills for residents and they're attempting to buy out the homes in this small town in the Mojave Desert. There's a casual mention by the resident she talks to about hexavalent chromium. I haven't heard that word for ages. Valency. It takes me back to chemistry lessons. She learns about the various forms of chromium and how chromium-6 is extremely hazardous to human health. And she investigates further. That's an amazing testament to her because the lawyers in the whole firm just carry on doing what they're doing without her interest in the case. Nothing may have happened. This is where Erin becomes really impressive. She tenaciously wades, almost literally, into the toxic waters of controversy, despite all the barriers that P, G and E put in her way. I mean, they're obviously not very keen on settling for very much money. They're happy to pay small amounts of money eventually. The actual story, if you read anything about it, it's devastating. It does appear in the film. I mean, the harm that these chemicals do to people, the cases of cancer and awful things. There's a whistleblower in the story at one point who talks about a cousin who has a nosebleed when cleaning out some of the equipment. People will cover up. Awful. If you think you can drink and bathe in water, you'd hope it would be safe. But without people who will go out and investigate, will actually, like Erin, take samples, takes risks by going into the area, finding dead frogs. Early on in the film, she gets sacked because she actually takes time to drive out into the desert to interview the residents. And they don't understand. They have an understandably cynical attitude towards lawyers, but she's got an amazing empathy and she understands human nature. She knows how to beguile and charm and use her feminine wiles when necessary to collect the data she needs for a solid case. There's a situation where she's working all hours and she doesn't get to see her youngest child's pivotal stages of growing up. She makes incredible sacrifices, and the lawyers on both sides, especially the opposition lawyers, but even the lawyers on the side of Albert Finney's character, he's the lawyer who employs Erin. At times he tries to rein in Erin and tries to get people to formalise the case in a way that's just not going to help the situation. It's going to water things down. And she is fighting for the residents. She's got real compassion. I love environmental films. I've also recently seen How to Blow Up a Pipeline. Hopefully I can find the time to review that. I've seen a few really powerful films. This is up there with them. The way that Erin Brockovitch became a hero for the townsfolk is really impressive. I love the way her character was portrayed, flaws and all, that mistake at the start with the car crash, the struggles that a young mother has to deal with, and yet how headstrong she was, how her tenacity helped. I knew that she was an environmental paralegal campaigner. Her environmental work is really inspiring. I also really like the soundtrack, the Shania Twain songs. I heard a few Shania Twain songs in I Heart Huckabees, which also has an environmental angle. It really takes me back to the noughties. It's a good nostalgic film in that respect as well. I'm very glad I saw this film. One of my 20th century films. 2000 is the final year of the 20th century. I'll score this 9 out of 10. Loved it. Thought it was a great film to see. Let me know your thoughts if you've seen it. And thanks for watching. Bye for now.